Welcome to My Healthy Mind. I'm Michael Hunter. We're glad you could join us today because we have a very difficult but very special and inspiring story to tell. This is a story of one man, a story of war, ethnic cleansing, genocide, and forgiveness, the most powerful of all these forces, a triumph over them. It's a story about being forgiven, which is a great thing, a gift. But more important, it's a story about finding inner peace through forgiving others. Because forgiving is ultimately not something you do for someone else, not something you do because the Bible says so. Forgiving is something you do for yourself. Kizito Kalima, welcome to My Healthy Mind.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I know you have a powerful story to tell, and before we get into that though, start out by telling us a little bit about your background before the genocide and the chaos.
So I was born in Rwanda in Central Africa, in a family of 10 kids. I'm the last born, and I grew up in a well-to-do family. Before the genocide, life was good. It's normal life, like, typical Christian family. My dad was a prominent activist, but he was into education. He was an educator, and he ran a bunch of schools, and of course he was teaching, and my mom was into healthcare. And we lived in Africa. Africa, when you have a little money, you live a good life, and that's how we were. We lived in the southern part of Rwanda, in a town called Nyanza.
And was that an agricultural town, or is it a traditional city like I would see today?
It was a traditional city with a lot of schools, actually. It used to be the capital of Rwanda before independence. It was the capital of Rwanda until 1962.
So you're just living your life daily, and when the genocide happened, was it an overnight thing, or was it a gradual escalation?
The genocide didn't start in 1994. It started actually like 100 years ago, in 1900, when the colonialists, when the Belgians, the Europeans came to Rwanda, and they divided us. So before 1900, Rwanda was just, was just a typical African country with three main social classes: the Hutus and Tutsis and Twa. And when the European came, they used those three main social classes, they turned them into ethnic groups. And that's what they introduced, the national ID, which divided everybody, and that led to a hatred. When Rwanda gained independence, they left us divided, and then we started fighting.
How would somebody know that you're from one tribe or another back then?
The national ID. So back, as I mentioned before, the Belgian colony, they brought us the national ID, and this ID had the ethnic group. And so they will have the Hutu, the Tutsis, and as a Tutsi, they put the high layer, the yellow one, that can even be visible in darkness. So since I was a kid, everybody knew I was a Tutsi, and we were minorities, and we've been oppressed for almost 30 years, so they knew exactly who we were. It was hard to hide.
And as that was occurring, you were a boy then, 14?
Yes.
But you had 9 other brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm. So what kind of conversations did you all have regarding what was going on around you?
We didn't like that president, especially our tribe, the Tutsi tribe. We didn't like the president, not because he was an oppressor. And when I heard on the radio that he was killed, what I did, I just ran to my parents' bedroom, and I told my mom, I was like, Mom, guess what? The evil president is dead. So my mom got up and I could see her eyes got big, and she was like, young men, do not get too excited, because anytime a leader of this country dies, we, meaning the Tutsis, we pay a heavy price. So as a teenager, I didn't care. I was like, ma'am, you don't know what you're talking about. To me, I thought having this president killed, it will just pretty much we're gonna be free.
And when you were processing what your mom said, well, what was your dad doing at that time?
My dad has been eliminated like weeks before.
When you say he was eliminated, you mean like
Killed.
kidnapped
Yeah.
or
No,
killed?
he was killed. He was killed. He was poisoned. He died throwing up the internal organs.
Wow. When did it actually touch you physically?
So that was the whole thing started April 6, 1994, but I didn't get to my place until like a week later, and that's when my house was attacked, and I ran away. And when I ran away, my house, came back, found out my house was blown up, and nobody was there. And I decided to leave in my area where I was raised, and I went to another village, almost like 10, 15, 20 miles away. I got there, and I stayed there for a couple of days. And when I was there, one of the killers saw me and went to report to his leader, to his boss. And they decided that they would come and pretty much burn the building on top of us. So when I was trying to figure out what was going on, the killer, he jumped and grabbed my shirt and pulled me down and grabbed the machete and went to chop my head off. So I saw the machete coming and just did this. The machete went all the way up here, cracked my little skull open. I have a big dent here. So, and he dumped, of course I passed out. And he dumped me in ditch dead bodies, and I was there for a couple hours. And I remember, when I woke up, they were still dumping people on top of me. I remember vividly pushing the guy. He had this maroon sweater, and I pushed him. I tried to walk. I walked like 50 feet. I get caught again. They took us to it was a main highway. It was a killing site. So we lined up, and that kind of terrified me. So this time I was looking for easy way to die or the painless to die. So in my little mind, I was like, if I ran, they're gonna shoot. So that's what I did. Trying to run away, they were shooting, but they never got me. So they opened the trunk of a car. They picked up my mom, put my mom in there, closed the trunk, and drove away. So that's the last time I saw my mom. So it's something that's been daunting for the last 20-some years, man. It hurts so bad because I was surrounded by the killers. I could not fight back. And I felt guilty for so long, up to now, because as a man, you're supposed to defend your family. But they took my mom away. She was taken and killed and dumped in mass grave. That's the last time I saw my mom.
Wow.
I kept going. I found myself in the swamps. So in the swamps, I don't have shoes. And I'm in this swampy, muddy place. This was in the middle of April. I stayed there until the end of June. So I always tell people, man, if you believe in God, you ask me how I survived the swamps. God showed up. I used to eat grass, drink this swampy yellowish water, and it got to the point where my body gave up. The whole United Nations, the whole world have left us.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's take a look.
hari hashize igihe kirekire iyo ntambara itutumba. Abahutu n'abatutsi twisanga twicana. Twe batwitaga inyenzi, inzoka, ko twari abatutsi. Badusohoye mu mazu, baratwica, badushyira mu muhanda, habura n'umuza kudutabara.
So a group of people from the Tutsi tribe and the Hutu tribe, what they call the moderate, they got together and said, you know what, we need to put an end to this madness. So they have captured the area. They have kicked the killers away. They have captured my area, but I didn't know that, I was rescued. I was late, and they didn't find him until like 2 weeks later. And now the war is over, but I'm orphaned. Now I just have to face life by myself.
Next time you need to see a doctor, don't go to a doctor. Call Team Wellness Online. With Team Wellness Online, you can see a doctor or a therapist without waiting, usually within 24 hours. Your televisit is private and 100% secure, and you can take all the time you want. So next time you need to see a doctor or therapist, call Team Wellness Online at 888-813-TEAM to make a virtual appointment, and we'll come to you.
At Team Wellness Primary Care Center, you will find all the basic services you need to be well and stay well. Come in for all your screenings. Come in for routine physicals and checkups. Come in for full-service dentistry. Come in for vaccinations and immunizations. At Team Wellness Primary Care Center, we take care of your total health. Team Wellness Primary Care Center. Come on in.
How did you maintain your mental fortitude to be here today?
Man, it's a long journey. That was in 1994, but from that time, I was placed in refugee camps, group homes, orphanage, boarding school, institution. So from July 1994 to like November 95, I was suicidal. I was fighting. I was just, I was an awful kid. Any place, any home they put me in, I fight. Any school they put me in, I fight. I got kicked out from school. And nobody could believe, because I was just, before the genocide, I was the most humble kid, playing sports, go to school, very organized, very, very polite. But this time I'm just crazy. I'm dealing with my physical injury. I'm dealing with the trauma. And now I'm dealing with poverty. And I decided at that time that I'm going to leave the country. That was November 1995. I went to Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. So just going those what they call East African countries. In those countries there, I didn't have a permanent place to stay. The only thing that saved me was sports. So I'll pick up basketball, I'll go to the park, I'll run a marathon with the Kenyans, of course, and I'll play soccer, volleyball. And this made me, gave me a sense of, helping me to deal with my anxiety and depression. That time I didn't know I'm suffering from something, because we don't have those type of mental health in our culture. We don't have anxiety, we don't have depression, we don't have paranoia, we don't have anything. If you're acting out, they call you crazy. And they say you're being possessed, that we pray on it. Fast forward 1998, I was offered a tryouts to come here through Savannah, Georgia.
What was life like, that transition? Because eventually, who you are on the inside changed.
Yes. So when I was offered the opportunities to come here, the first thing I thought in my mind, I said, nobody's going to kill me because I'm a Tutsi. And I knew that at least I can be just a person, a regular person. And I started, taking these opportunities I was given seriously. I said, you know what? If somebody gave me a chance to play basketball and go to school, I need to finish school. Now, I don't have to worry about food, shelter, or clothing, or my safety. Now, the mental health comes back. I start having nightmares. I used to scream at night, people chasing me. And I used to start getting this anxiety. I was sitting in the classroom, I just sweat. And that was the first time I just learned about the mental health. And that's why I said, you know what, okay, there's something I'm going to learn with, deal with it for the rest of my life. And I kept searching, learning, I talked, I went through my whole last year, a year and a half, I believe, I was going through therapy, on a weekly basis.
Can you take us through your forgiveness journey?
So I came to forgiveness because I've tried everything. So I went through just regular therapy, did everything I could naturally. I Googled every single public figure I know, Nelson Mandela, Dr. King, Gandhi, those people I feel like, who to me I admired, and I found out all of them, they have something in common, forgiveness. And that time, telling me forgiveness, I was like, oh, no, man, no. How can I forgive somebody who abused my family, who almost killed me? And I remember trying to learn, how can I get to the point where I can just let it go completely. So, and of course, I reached out to the professionals, therapists that, I knew, and case workers, social workers. They're like, you know what? You can write down the people you are planning to kill, to revenge to, and just talk to them and see what's going to happen. And I did. I had like 30 people. And I'll cuss them out. I'll just let it out, and anytime I'll cross. So this journey started at least like in 05, 06, but it didn't come to to complete, until like 2009 and 10. The funny thing is, I used to have migraine headaches like every single day. And when I started thinking about forgiveness, my migraine headaches started going down. I started sleeping at least 4 or 5 hours. To me, it was a revelation. But I made sure this became like a religion to me. And I took this forgiveness as a medicine, and I practice. But it got to the point where even I felt so good about myself, I started sharing my love or my passion. Like another person was born. And when I look back, I was like, you know what? It's because of forgiveness.
Stress, depression, and severe mental illness can happen to anyone. Team Wellness Center has been helping those struggling with these conditions in southeastern Michigan.
They get a chance to know that somebody's on their team.
We think nobody else feels the pain that we feel. We feel like I'm the only one. But that is so untrue.
Within 24 hours of reaching out to our team, members receive psychiatric evaluations and begin the necessary treatment for recovery.
Working through my problems and seeing that I'm not the only one that has to cope has really brought me to a place where now it's okay to talk about it.
Because if you keep stuff to yourself, you can't overcome. We all need one another.
Team Wellness Center. You are not alone.
Your story includes a remarkable twist because you went back to Rwanda, correct?
Yes.
Why'd you go back?
So after 24 years, I returned and I retraced all the places I went to. The same place where I was hacked with machete, the swamps where I stayed, and the house where I hid, the ruins of my family, of course. And I went there. It was beautiful. Actually, I loved it because I was scared if I'm strong enough to deal with it. But when I got there, everything was normal, was beautiful, and I realized I forgot to do one thing. I forgot to see somebody who tried to chop my head off. And I said, you know what? Let me go see this guy. I need to let him know that I've forgiven him before he dies or before I die. So I went back to see him, and I went to the prison. I asked permission to go to the prison, and when I saw him coming, I saw those reddish eyes with the machete. For a split second, I was just shaking. So he sat down, and to my surprise, after he figured out who I was, he told me everything he did. So by the time I left there, I felt so good about myself. I felt like I've done everything. I've completed the whole cycle.
Because you were able to tell him face to face, I forgive you.
Yes.
Whether it's a thoughtlessly hurtful remark or an intentional grievous wrong, as in this man's case, it's very hard to forgive. It takes strength, work, beginning with making a conscious decision, literally choosing to forgive. It does not depend on the offender's deserving forgiveness, asking for it, or expressing remorse, although this can certainly make it easier to forgive. Forgiving is a personal choice. Feeling helpless or no sense of control when facing a situation often and naturally results in anger. Knowing that you've been wronged causes rage and bitterness. The imbalance in power, the irrationality, the injustice, all feed justifiable anger. And it's partly because of those feelings that makes them justified, that it makes it so difficult to let go Holding on to anger causes pronounced physical stress, an increase in your blood pressure, your heart rate, headaches, stomach ulcers, intestinal distress. The list goes on. It can also cause severe mental stress, anxiety, depression, negative focus, constantly living in the past, not able to enjoy life, feeling alienated, cycles of rage, volatility, obsession about the past and what's gone wrong and what's happened to you. It's literally exhausting, both physically and mentally. Staying angry takes a lot of work and energy. So letting go of that anger, forgiving, while it may seem hard to do, is ultimately easier on you than holding on to anger, and will ultimately lead to the inner peace that I think we all seek.
What would you say to anybody right now that's struggling with an opportunity to forgive or not?
So what I learned about this journey is that when you're angry at someone or something, you're hurting yourself. And those people you're probably angry at, they don't even care. They don't even know what's going on. I always tell people the only person you can change is yourself. So, and I encourage them, the sooner the better. If you can let it go as soon as possible, the better off you're going to be. So I encourage people to work on it. Don't just, what I try to encourage is, don't just try to cover it up. Don't pretend. Go through the emotions. Be angry, be upset, let it out the way you want to let it out. Just positively if you can. I don't encourage people to use, heavy drugs or alcohol or another means of, covering up. Just let it go. The sooner the better. And you're going to feel better. You're going to find another time. You're going to actually find another way. The time you was using to be angry and upset, you're going to use to something else.
How do you say, I forgive you in the Rwandan language?
Oh, so you say ndakubabariye.
Injili haina ubaguzi, ni ya kila mtu awaye yote. Si kwamba uwe Myahudi, hasha, ama eti uwe Msamaria, hasha. Injili haina ubaguzi, ni ya kila mtu awaye yote. Si kwamba uwe Myahudi, hasha, ama eti uwe Msamaria, hasha.
If you're having any kind of mental health crisis, we can help. At Team Wellness Crisis Centers, you'll be seen immediately, stabilized in our own private facility, and given all the care you need to get better. Don't wait. Call the Team Wellness Helpline at 1-888-813-TEAM. It could be your lifeline. Anxiety, depression can happen to anyone for all kinds of reasons, especially during difficult and trying times that no one should have to go through alone. At Team Wellness, trained, compassionate, caring professionals will get you into the right treatment so you get better. Team Wellness. You are not alone.
Thank you for joining us today as we discussed how important forgiving others is to our own mental and physical well-being, and what you can do to learn to forgive. Practice meditation, release, and mindfulness. Exercise. Find calming or humorous distractions. Plan joyful cleansing experiences. Get out into nature. Draw on spirituality. Acknowledge your feelings, then box them up and set them aside. Then, from a calm, controlled base, make the conscious decision to forgive. If you'd like to learn more about this or any mental health issue, please visit us on our website at myhealthymind.com, on Facebook at My Healthy Mind Show, or on Twitter. We'll see you next week for another edition of My Healthy Mind. Let's talk about it. Be sure to like and subscribe for more episodes of My Healthy Mind.
Until recently, people in psychiatric crisis had very few options. Basically, they could be taken to a hospital emergency room and inpatient treatment, or to jail. But now, there's a better way. Team Wellness Psychiatric Urgent Care Center of Metro Detroit, an official certified community behavioral health clinic. What this means is that now, people experiencing any kind of mental health or substance abuse crisis can be taken immediately and directly into treatment at our safe, certified crisis stabilization unit, to be immediately assessed, stabilized, and triaged by our team of intake medical doctors and psychiatrists, to undergo intensive psychiatric therapy for up to 23 hours in one of our private or semi-private rooms, to be fully evaluated for short-term care and given a warm handoff into proper ongoing treatment, and to receive continuing long-term clinical and peer support services based on a thorough, thoughtful discharge plan drawn up case by case. For those in the throes of a substance abuse crisis, our response would be the effective, evidence-based practice for treating substance abuse, including Suboxone. In cases of attempted suicide, certified suicide prevention specialists are on call, and our mobile crisis response team ready for dispatch. In any mental health emergency, our Psych Urgent Care unit is open 24/7 to receive and treat those in crisis. And in all these cases, law enforcement can bring subjects to Team Wellness to divert from jail or the emergency room. This kind of direct access will save time and save lives. Team Wellness Psychiatric Urgent Care. Certified, safe.